What's up, Z Nation? It's your boy Tripp.
What's up? It's Mama Bear.
We are YouTube channel, Everything Generation Z, spreading the hope and positivity. So if it's your first time here, make sure that you're hitting that subscribe button,
Liking,
sharing,
and commenting.
because we need you to. You feel me? All right. So Mama Bear, what's going on today? How you feeling?
I'm feeling great. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right.
This is, what day is it? Our smoothie challenge. It's day, out of 10. I don't even know.
6.
Day 6 of our smoothie challenge. And I'm feeling good. How about you?
I'm feeling hungry. Like I'm mad hungry all the time. Like I'm thinking about food right now as we're speaking, right?
Right.
So for the ones who don't know, tell us about the smoothie challenge, Mom. What have we been?
So what we've been doing for the last 10 days, we've just been doing smoothies, 2 smoothies a day, and then a meal. Remember that commercial, 2 sensible meals and whatever. But anyway, that's what we've been doing, and just trying to reset for the new year, getting our mind and our body just rejuvenated, and it's been our reset.
Yeah, it's been tough. But it's healthy and it's what we need to do. So today we're kind of segueing. It's the year 2021. You guys have learned a lot about us over the past year, so we're introducing a different side of us this year. One of those things being more our faith and how we believe, and what we believe. And we're trying to make sure that that message of hope and positivity is getting out to this generation, because they definitely need this message that they're going to hear today. Right, Mama Bear?
Yeah, that's right. So we said in the beginning of this year, we were coming with creating a culture versus just content, because we really want to impact this generation for the better. So that's what we are doing. And today we have a special guest with us, and his name is Austin, and he's my brother from another mother. But he's going to share his story with us, and just really, it's just a phenomenal story of challenges, ups, downs, and all the way around. But we're excited to get to hear from him, and we're excited to see how this story will impact you.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely excited too. So Austin, we'll give you the floor, man, and kind of introduce yourself and tell us your journey, and we'd love to hear it.
All right. Hello, everybody. My name's Austin Hopkins. I'm from Barberton, Ohio, born and raised. I'm a Navy veteran, 5 years. I have an honorable discharge. So yeah, that's basically all there is to know about me right now. We'll get into my story here in a little bit.
So what did you do in the Navy?
Well, initially, I signed up to be a Navy corpsman. But right out of boot camp, I was selected to be part of the United States Navy Ceremonial Guard. That's a prestigious select unit that does ceremonies for the president. We do a lot of White House stuff. We do funerals in Arlington National Cemetery, which is what I did, mainly as a casket bearer. But yeah, there was just a bunch of ceremonies, and I did a lot of really cool things in there.
Awesome.
Did you think when you went into the Navy, was that something that you were thinking that you would do, or is this kind of something that just like kind of happened? I know a lot of different times, like when you're in the service, like you don't really know fully what job you're going to get until you get through everything. How was that experience for you, like kind of getting to that point?
Well, once I knew that I was going to enlist, I kind of had a general idea of what I was going to do. So going through the whole MEPS program was relatively easy for me. I knew generally what I wanted to get into. So that really wasn't an issue. But the difficult choice was when I got into boot camp and was offered this job that I didn't really know what it was. I just had this kind of like gut feeling that something was driving me to do this. So that's initially what I ended up doing, was selecting this position for a specific amount of time before I went and did my initial job that I signed a contract for.
So you said 5 years in the military.
Yep.
So I have a lot of military people in my family, and I kind of hear the same thing over. Like it's great for discipline, and they got to travel the world and things like that. What would be your top 3 things that you learned from being in the military?
That's a tough one. Top 3. Perseverance for sure is definitely up there. Independence is a good one for sure, and then I guess discipline would definitely be up there. There was just so many life lessons that the military taught me, and it honestly helped me grow up, and I needed it. So it was like you were saying, it's definitely a good experience for sure.
So it's interesting that you chose perseverance as the number 1 quality, because you have persevered through a lot. I'm telling you guys right now, he should not be sitting here across the table from us, but he is, and that's just a miraculous story. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that journey?
So basically, I have to take you back a little while to my childhood. So growing up, I had 2 alcoholic parents, which kind of set me up to fail, I guess. So I don't know. I guess I've got it better than most people did. I had a roof over my head. I had clothes on my back, so I never really struggled for anything. I never wanted for anything. But I never really grew up knowing what love was, if that makes sense. So growing up with alcoholic parents in turn made me become an alcoholic. Now that some people can say, oh, you just could have not drank. Yes, I could have not drank, but growing up, seeing that that's what my parents did to resolve all of their issues, that's what I ended up doing. So fast forward, I'm about to graduate high school. I don't really know what I'm going to do with my life, so I decided to enlist in the military. Now, one of my friends had joined the Marine Corps. He was blown up overseas and was saved by a Navy corpsman. So obviously that's what I decided I was going to do. I wanted to save people. I wanted to help people. So I start the process. I take my ASVAB. I score pretty high. I get the job offer, Navy corpsman, so I take it for my contract. I go through boot camp, do my whole thing. I get selected to go to the ceremonial guard. So I go there, basically do a whole nother boot camp at the ceremonial guard. Once I'm through with that, I start to, just move through the steps that it takes to do there. I do parades, I do events and just marching, a couple White House ceremonies, and then once I've started to accumulate enough experience, I decided to join a specialty platoon. Now there are 4 different choices. I decided to join the casket bearers because they are, it's something that I felt that I needed to do. So once I was in the casket bearers platoon, I had to start putting on a little bit more muscle because despite how I look right now, I used to be a measly 145 and I looked like a skeleton. So
Before the casket.
yes, before the caskets. So I started lifting. Lifting actually became a huge part of my life. It definitely helped relieve a lot of stress and a lot of issues that I was going through. Being casket bearers, you have to carry caskets. Caskets are usually pretty heavy. So in the mornings we would go and lift, and we would spend almost 2 or 3 hours at the gym. And then we would carry fake caskets full of weights. I mean, not fake caskets, real caskets.
Right.
But we'd fill them with 45-pound plates. And we would have all of our guys, there were like 20 of us, we would take turns carrying these caskets to the gym to work out, and then carry the casket to the cafeteria to eat lunch, and then carry it back to the building to start doing flag folding and everything. So it was a pretty intense regimen. And then once I would get off of work, I would go and hang out in my room and do my uniform prep or whatever, and then I would go to the gym again later that night on my own fruition and try to bulk up.
So you were actually going to the gym twice a day when you would work out. So it'd be gym twice a day, but pretty much you were working out and carrying the caskets the entire day in between all of this. Was that something that was required, or something you guys just wanted to do to make sure you were like prepared to do your job at the highest level?
That was kind of just the lifestyle that we lived. Obviously, some of it was training, but a lot of it that's just what we wanted to do. We wanted to be the best at what we did, and when we got out there in Arlington and carried the caskets, it looked good. So what we were doing was working for sure. So yeah, I started doing funerals. The first 2 or 3 funerals I did were quite a shock to me. Just being there, holding the casket, being a part of that funeral that close. It changed me, I guess, in a way, but in a good way and a bad way, partially. It definitely brought the whole life is fragile thing into my mind very, very quickly and very clearly. Now, as time progresses and I do more funerals, I start to cut my emotions out. They did a really good job of training us to not think about the job we were doing, to just do it. So I was starting down a path that would end up leading me to becoming very emotionless, cold, almost like a robot. And it took me a long time and a lot of therapy and counseling to start to get those emotions back and to start processing things like a normal person, I guess. So once the whole military funeral thing was done, I went back to my initial contract, which was the Navy Corpsman. So I went to Texas and I did some medical training school there for 6 months. It was fine. We got to do a whole bunch of cool stuff. I was the guinea pig for a bunch of kids because at the time I had giant pipes for veins, so I was definitely the best sticking dummy for sure. But we practiced IVs, we practiced all kinds of cool stuff. After that, I went to North Carolina, where I started my combat medicine training. Did 2 months of pretty intense training there. While I was there, I tried to go into the Special Forces program. That didn't really work out the way that I hoped that it would. So I ended up getting sent to a hospital in North Carolina, Camp Lejeune.
At this point, did you feel like you were going to be a lifetime in service? Did you want to be in the service for the remainder of your life, or was that the plan at this time in the story?
So at this part in my story, I kind of developed a crippling alcohol addiction. So I didn't
in the military.
Yes, while in the service. That was just the lifestyle, I guess. It was very tempting. It was honestly not really a whole lot else to do other than just drink and party with your friends. So at this point, I didn't really have any plans. I was just kind of going with the flow. I didn't really care about anything. It was just like another day. So it didn't really matter to me. And that's what I can remember. Most of the time I was too drunk to do anything. So I ended up becoming a PICC line assistant. So all of the nurses and doctors would do PICC lines, and they need someone to assist them. So I would get everything prepped up and help them with the procedure. And that was one of my several collaterals that I had there. Um, Now, granted, while all of this was going on, I was showing up to work absolutely hammered every day. I was a functioning alcoholic for sure. Thankfully, my addiction never led to anyone getting hurt. Didn't affect my job per se, um, but it was definitely an issue, and I'm kind of upset that nobody caught it sooner. Um, but I was showing up for work on time. I was doing what I needed to do, so it wasn't an issue to anybody.
About how much were you drinking a day at this point?
So at this point, I think I was going through a handle every other day. So that was basically my entire paycheck went to the liquor store. Um, I saved enough money to pay for my phone bill, and that everything else was booze money as far as I was concerned. So yeah, that was definitely one of the lowest points in my life for sure. And obviously, while working in a hospital, you're going to see some people pass away. Um, One of the first encounters that I had with death um, wasn't actually in a patient room. It was actually on my own time. Um, so that was something that I struggled with for a long time, trying to cope with and express how to feel about it. Um, and obviously, I just drank the pain away until it was no longer there. And when it would come back, I would just drink it until it was repressed again.
So do you think that I think it's interesting how you're saying, how the drinking suppresses the pain. And to that point, do you feel that it was the pain of just all the experiences in the military, or was it that coupled along with your childhood and having two alcoholic parents? Like, was it just thing on top of thing that led you there, or do you think it was just, hey, this is how I'm trying to get through this current situation?
I don't know. I honestly think that at this point in my life, I hadn't really developed any healthy coping mechanisms. So the only way that I knew how to deal with things was to drink.
And you didn't have any emotions at that point.
I didn't have any emotions, so
That makes
I
sense.
didn't really care a whole lot about what other people thought of me. So I just would drink all day, every day, until I passed out most of the time. So that was just my only way of dealing with situations. It didn't matter how big it was. It didn't matter how little it was. If it was any inconvenience to me at all, I'd be like, oh, that's an excuse to drink. And then I would, go to the bottom.